Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today I am making something historical. No, this isn't like a, oh my god, this is such an amazing build. Literally, I am picking something from history. I've made a few builds in the past, and I was doing a search on some things to get ideas, and this popped up. Some Moai statues popped up on my search, and I was like, yeah, why not do that? With Easter just around the corner, it seemed kind of relevant to the search, so today we are going to make some Moai, or as it more commonly is referred to as the Easter Island statues. Let's make a big old head out of foam. Let's get to building. I vaguely remember talking about these monolithic sculptures in art and history classes when I was in school, so I thought I'd do a deep dive into the history as I built this prop. That means more facts along with the other stuff you see pop up at the bottom of the screen. King Hatumatui, I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce a bunch of things, was legend to be the first settler somewhere between 300 to 400 AD, others say 700 to 800, and radiocarbon date says 1200, who knows. Inhabitants cultivated the land, stripped it of most its trees, and began paying homage to their religion. The religious practice was called Iviatua, and they believed that ancestor souls would come back to help their heirs. To pay respect, they built these massive monolithic heads over the course of time on the island. While the original is made out of volcano rock, I traced mine onto some 6mm EVA foam. Here I am cutting out the parts. You'll notice that some pieces have colors along the edges. This means that there needs to be an angle cut there. Blue means to do a 45-degree angle cut inward, and green means outward. Back to Rapa Nui. These statues that they erected were placed on rectangular stone platforms called ahu, basically a tomb for the people the statue represented. All of these statues are slightly different as they're intended to represent the person's characteristics. Even though a lot of the pictures you see are just of the heads darting a landscape, the truth is that there are bodies attached to them. They're just buried under the soil. Here I am heat forming the foam so that it is easy to bend closer to its final shape. This also helps reduce the amount of pressure put on the seams so that there is less gaps. Some of the details on the statue are lost with time. Most look very rough with very little detail. Historians believe the eyes had red scoria stone and coral inlays. The bodies were polished to a smooth finish. Some had traditional island tattooing, some had top knot hair pieces, and some were painted with maroon and white pigments. Assembly is pretty straightforward. Slather on the edges with your choice of glue. Mine is barge contact cement. I close up the darts first. These are those big V-shaped cuts that you see on the top here. Then, using my reference marks, I attach the corresponding parts. I glue up 1/2 at a time so that I don't rush myself. Speaking of taking time, a large Moai could take a team of workers up to 2 years to carve out of the volcanic stone called lapilli tuff. They chipped away at it using carving tools called toki, made out of hard basalt rock. Now I'm joining the two halves. You'll notice that the pattern of the nose bottom and the underchin are single pieces, and I combined my chest piece into one when I was tracing it. These will kind of help to pull the parts together. I choose not to put on the bottom of mine so that if one wanted to, they could hide something underneath it. According to the oral tradition, the statues walk to their final destination. For smaller moai, they would tie 3 ropes around the top and rock the statue back and forth like you would a heavy refrigerator trying to get it into place. A 5-ton statue could be moved with as few as 30 people. Normally I would sand the seams, even then make a second pass with a stone bit. This volcanic rock over time is porous with erosion, and I'm just gonna mar the entire surface up. This will hide the seams and make the rock a little bit more realistic. Make sure to wear a respirator and work in a well-ventilated area while sanding EVA foam. You don't want to breathe in the dust particles. With the large statues, a roller method was more than likely applied. They would cut down large trees, lay the statue on its back, and with brute force pull the moai across. As a log would be freed from underneath, it would be moved back to the front. A team of 25 people could move a 9-ton moai 40 meters in only 2 minutes, according to a test that some archaeologists did. To finish off the form, I added the columella and the nostrils onto the nose and the ears onto the sides. Once on, I divoted them up a little bit to make them blend in with the rest of the build. Another less conventional theory for moving the moai was alien spaceships. Though this would be much easier and a fun spin on the uniqueness of the island's monoliths, it's probably not the case. For some, it's easier to believe that aliens did all of this than it is to believe that a limited amount of people with primitive equipment were able to accomplish such a massive undertaking. The Moai may have been the first civilization to accurately represent the pouty duck lips in a selfie, or in this case a stony or whatever you would call a carving of oneself. Mine currently has none. Initially I thought I would add an overlay, and then I realized it'd be much easier just to cut a slit, heat form it, and then push it out from the back. Much easier than carving it would be. Along with the massive stone sculptures, they also found small wooden ones. These were more slender, emaciated figures and were believed to have been made as the civilization collapsed and those massive statue patronages were no longer possible. To add more texture to my rock, I painstakingly burned in pocks and divots all over the entire surface. This took me almost as long as it did to build the entire thing. Make sure to wear a respirator and vent the room. Burning foam with a wood burner lets off a nasty fume that you don't want to breathe in. In 1995, Easter Island was declared a World Heritage Site to help preserve the history of the small Polynesian island off the coast of Chile. 2 coats of Plastidip. Follow that up with a base coat of gray spray paint. To dirty up the rock a bit, I put on several washes of browns and black acrylic paint. I slop it on wet and wipe away the high points with a paper towel. I do this several times, letting it dry between each pass and making more sporadic drips here and there to sell it as weathered. The biggest grouping of the moai on the island is 15 of these monolithic statues in a row called the Ahu Tagariki. They were fallen over with time and a tsunami destroyed the rock wall. In the 1990s, Japan donated money and equipment to restore the formation to its former upright glory. It still wasn't dirty enough for my taste, so I need to add a little something more. Here is a pro tip for how to make something look caked on with dirt. You ready? Use real dirt. I went outside, scooped up a jar full of dirt, and then mixed it with a little Mod Podge and my paint to glue on the sediment. Once I was finished with the placement, I added a watered down wash of some more glue, and it was finished. And we are finished. Here is the end result. Overall, I think it turned out pretty good. Not too difficult of a build to do. Definitely not if you have the template already at hand, which is in the description below. It took me less than a day, basically, from start to finish to do this. Now, I had to wait for paint to dry and things like that, so it did take technically 2 days, but with that being said, this is definitely something that could be done on a weekend. And with Easter coming up soon, or if you just wanted to make some of these for decorations or whatever, feel free to. If you want to blow it up and make it to where you can wear them, or shrink them down so that they go into miniature dioramas, whatever you have planned. We kind of share a resemblance. It gets in the brow and the nose. Maybe you'll try and make one of these yourselves and impress your friends with your ability to make something historical and put it on a shelf and look at it and be really cool. At the same time, it can hide stuff. Yeah. Maybe you'll get some, and inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? Give them one of these. Tell them, much props. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could wear it as a hat. I don't really know that that's very stylish, so let's see if it looks better on your head. If you enjoy what I do here on YouTube and want to see more builds like this one, please consider joining these awesome people listed here with me over on my Patreon to build a bigger, better, more creative community together.